Welcome to the TBH Mastermind podcast. Today we've got a really special guest. He's already had more lives than what most of us have. It's John McCombe. John, professional footballer, almost 500 games, Cup and League games, and I've even heard he scored 29 goals in that career. So we'll ask him what was his best goal at some point. So John, welcome. Tell us a little bit about John McCombe and who you are.
Oh
And
yeah,
where have
well,
you
thank
come
you
from?
for inviting me, Paul. Really happy to be on. I think you know more about my career than me, to be honest. I didn't realise I'd scored 29 goals, but yeah, my background was in football, so just played football for being a young child, 2 or 3, same as my brother, and luckily managed to sign for Huddersfield Town when I was 10, and then stayed at Huddersfield till I was 22. Managed to break into the first team and play a few games there, and then obviously went on to a few other clubs like Port Vale and York, and some other teams played, like you said, nearly 500 games. And then obviously retired probably around 2020, yeah, around lockdown. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, got more into business and into the different professions after that.
brilliant. So, football, business. Did you do any football business? Is that who you deal with
Um,
now?
yeah, so now I'm a financial advisor. So I still work with a few footballers, but yeah, I think when I played football, I always wanted to stay in football because I absolutely loved it. I did all my coaching badges. I did a sports and exercise science degree from Manchester Met, and I set up football academies in 2014, and then we turned those into franchises. So I was all set up really to have the academies in the background, and then stay in professional football coaching. And I think COVID and a few other things around 2020 sort of changed my perspective on a few things, and then that's why I sort of went into different businesses and why I ended up being a financial advisor in the end.
And your brother's a professional footballer, so was your house always competitive between the two
Yeah,
of you?
I think every footballer's competitive, some more than others. But yeah, we always got on really well. We speak sort of, even now we speak every day. So we were competitive, but I was always really happy for my brother to succeed, and same for me because he went on and played higher than me, and people are like, "Oh, your brother was better than you," and I feel pretty happy that my brother went and did that. Really, so it's not we weren't too competitive, but you can imagine, yeah, growing up in the same household, two people trying to make it as professional footballers, we were quite competitive people.
Yeah, I remember down at Huddersfield there's also the Clark brothers
Yeah,
as well.
so I think
They were.
Nathan was 2 years older than me, same age as Jamie, and Tom was a couple of years younger. So
Hmm.
they were, yeah, two close brothers as well. I still speak to Nathan and Tom. Um, see them around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lovely
great
people.
people, and they're pretty similar. They're pretty close people who, yeah, supported each other's career as well as trying to go as far as they could individually as well.
Brilliant. So I'll roll back to your football career. You know, I'm a football fan myself, so I'm always interested, but and particularly in your career. So you've moved from the business of football to financial planning for people. So what attracted you that
Um,
way?
yeah, I think all of my sort of background and story sort of led me to financial advice in long one way or another. So, like I said, I wanted to stay in football. I had the football academies, and going back a little bit, when 2020 lockdown happened, I was playing part time football for Hyde United, and I was assistant manager, and obviously had the football academies. So all of that stopped, and then me and my brother
Hmm.
saw an opportunity of setting up a logistics business, which we knew nothing about logistics, not lots and lots about business, but there was a company called the Modern Milkman who was still going today and deliver milk and groceries to people's doorstep.
Yeah.
They were trying to grow during lockdown, and obviously had an amazing opportunity to grow their business
Hmm.
in a time frame that they never thought was possible. So we got on board. We set up our own logistics company, and then we started with one van, just going out of Leeds, and then we eventually grew our business to sort of 60 vans going out delivering probably around 15,000 deliveries a night. And yeah, we ended up sort of running the units for Modern Milkman and also running all the deliveries and managing all the drivers for most of Yorkshire and the northeast of England. So yeah, that went pretty crazy, but it was a 24-hour, 7 days a week job that was really stressful. Financially, we did really well with it, but I just weren't happy with carrying on in that the way we were, not spending much time with the family, and not being very healthy. I put lots of weight on. Just ultimately not very happy with that. And just before we set that up, my mum had she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and then died 2 weeks later. So that was quite a big shock for us. And we just had a lot of health stuff in the family. So my dad's had 2 heart attacks and cancer 3 times. So we've got lots of cancer on my mum's side, and obviously with my dad, but then lots of heart disease quite early. So I just kept thinking I want to enjoy the next sort of up to retirement and beyond, but I don't want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week till I'm 60, 65, and then just retire and try and enjoy it, because I might not get there, and if I do, I might not be in a position where I can go and travel. So we sold the business and I went to work for Huddersfield Town Foundation for a year really, and just said I'd hopefully leave them in a better position after the year, and if I really enjoyed it, I'd stay around. But I was just trying to work out what to do, and probably luckily one day I just, after probably a full year really, I got sort of offered jobs back in football, went for jobs, didn't get interviews, and spent a full year really of not knowing what to do. And then luckily one day I wrote down everything that I wanted my life to be like. So I wanted to run my own business again. I wanted to have the flexibility to take my girls to school and pick them up. I wanted to have a business where I wasn't I could earn as much as the effort I put into it and grow a business. I wanted something that I could sort of sell, and something where it was helping people, because I really enjoy sort of, I've always been involved in coaching or mentoring or helping people in a way. And then that's when I came across financial advice really, and just thought that sounded like I could fit everything that I wanted into setting up my own practice of a financial advice business. And to be honest, it was actually an ex-Huddersfield Town player who got me into it. So I don't know if you remember Robbie Simpson, who used to... So Robbie... I was speaking to Robbie Simpson because he runs a company called Laps, which is around getting professional and ex-professional athletes into jobs and businesses. And he's actually a St James's Place partner, and mentioned about what he did, and I just thought it sounded perfect really for what I'd want to do. So as soon as I saw that and what I could do and what I could build with a business, that's what led me to do it really. And since I made that decision, I've not really looked back, if I'm being honest.
Brilliant. So you've got a lot of business experience, and your clients, are they business owners, or are they just regular Joes? What
varied
sort of
really, but I think my sort of mainly niche area is business owners. I think like you've mentioned there, I like business. I like to help people. I like people to succeed in business, and I think I can really see how running your own business can be one of the best things you'll ever do, really. But also at the same time, I know how hard it is. It's not easy. It's not for everyone, and I think with my final advice side, that my knowledge around that, and obviously my experience in business, and also just my experience back in football and the resilience and lots of aspects of that, I think all of those put together really helps me with business owners quite a lot, really. But I do work with, I've got some professional footballers, as you can imagine, and some ex-professional footballers as well, who are similar age to myself. And then I just enjoy working with families and professionals, and just most of it's about people buying into the process, because financial advice has changed, and I think I do things quite different, where it used to be quite transactional, where it was, you've got a pot of money, let's put it into this investment, and then once a year you get a letter sent out saying this is how you investments performing, where now it's more around planning, meeting them quite a few times throughout the year, just being there as someone who can coach them, give them knowledge, and also just supporting them around their business and finance and making them feel confident, because ultimately there's a real lack of knowledge and education around finance from school all the way up through college. And if most people's experience of finance has been they've either learnt it themselves, maybe had a relative who understands it, or they've at some point got a financial advisor. And apart from that, you don't learn much about it at school. No one teaches you at sort of college or university unless you're doing a finance degree. And then also when you start your first job, no one ever really sits you down and says, this is how your pension's going to work, and this is how your pay slip is, and this is what you should be putting away. There's a real gap of knowledge, which I really enjoy, to be honest, because lots of people I work with are intelligent people, and they don't understand finance purely because they've never been in a room or the right place where someone's actually helped them to understand it. And
it's really interesting, that John, because my daughter, she runs her own tutoring business. It's called Tutor Doctor, and one of the most they offer various maths, English, that type of thing, but they offer this thing called X skills to when they're in senior school. And X skills is really stands for executive skills. It's about learning. It's about learning how to learn, how to understand, how to manage your time, how to manage a project. Also, they cover things like the basics, like financial aspects of just things like that. And you're absolutely right. You think that would be covered in school to some level, and her X skills course is probably the one thing that I wish I'd learned.
Yeah,
at
no, I
school
think
as
it's just
well,
more useful. Obviously, I'm actually a governor at Only High School, and I see the process that goes into the curriculum and how important English and maths and lots of other areas are. It'd just be amazing if, we can get more around business and entrepreneurship and finance taught from an early age, because I've always been good with numbers, and a bit of a family trait, really. My wife works in a bank, and my daughters are good with numbers as well, and a lot of family are. But yeah, I help my daughter with her homework, and we're working out the area of an hexagon or some other aspects. And I think, at some points, I think it'd be a lot easier if you learn just the basics of how a mortgage works, or how does a bank account open, or how does interest or compound interest work. It'd be really beneficial, because I think that's where there's a massive gap of knowledge. And I always say to people when I sit down, and I think it's a blocker for lots of people sitting down with a financial advisor, because they feel that we're going to talk down to them because they don't understand, and also they shy away from things that you don't understand, and that's pretty natural, really. If you're not very good at something or you don't understand it, you just shut off and say, I'm not interested. Where I try and be, really straight away put people at ease, just to know that it's pretty normal to not totally understand finance, because it's not like they've been told it and they've forgot it or they didn't listen. It's just purely that. And there's some concepts that I've explained to people in 10, 15 minutes, and they've said, I wish someone would have told me that before. Whether it's the business owners using a pension contribution to save corporation tax that might save them £20,000 a year or whatever it might be, then it's normally, and that's from experience as well. So when I had the logistics business, my finances, I've always been, I also am good with finance. People used to come to me and ask around certain things, so I've always been sensible with money and good with numbers. But the way I paid into my pension and did a few things with my business, if I knew what I knew now, I would have done it totally different. And that's why I feel there's a real gap to help people, especially business owners, who it's a lonely place, isn't it, as a business owner at times, and probably
it's very much so, John. You're right. And what's the if you were talking to I guess small business owners, they always think that they're going to earn enough money to put away in a pot. They're going to sell the business one day, or maybe even pass it on to the family if they're not very nice. Make the children have the same pain that they're having. What advice would you give someone who's not struggling in business, but they've got it going. What would you give them advice
Yeah,
wise?
obviously, I think firstly, business is quite difficult, and the first part of call, I'd say, especially for people with a newer business, is all of the things I put on my list that I just mentioned around having the flexibility and earning a good amount of money to enjoy life and put away for retirement. And lots of that list, you have to earn the right to get to that point. And I think a lot of people go, I'll set my own business up and have flexibility in all the aspects, but they take a long time for your business to be set up.
Yeah,
If you could start a business and get all of that, then most people would do it straight away. And that, so I think once you've reached a certain point in business, I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, but you're probably in a small percentage of business owners that are actually still going after 3, 4, 5 years time. So yeah, and around finance, I'd always say I get it because for most people it's around just paying the bills when you first start a business and making enough money. But I always go back to some of the reasons why people start a business. They don't start a business to make lots of profit. I know that's one of the byproducts of what you want, but most people, when I've asked them, and what I want is a lot of it's about having a good life, having the flexibility, and all the things I've mentioned. And that's why we have a business, but we forget about that because we think so much about turnover and profit. And ultimately, the business is about you getting back out of it what you need. And I think a bit of focus on that is always really helps. And sometimes, especially for a smaller business, if it's a business where I don't know whether it's a business coach or a small, more of a services business, and you're trying a lifestyle business, having those numbers sometimes, because a lot of people do a business plan based around sort of turnover profit, and that's only half the battle. When if you say I need this much every month, and I need on top of that I need £500 a month to pay into a pension, and I need this, and know those numbers, you can work backwards into your business and say, well, to get out of what I need for that, I need to work backwards and then have a plan to be able to reach that amount. Because I see lots of people who struggle with that first element of getting to that point. And obviously, bigger business, it's around scaling, and a lot of problems are similar for business owners, but obviously as the size changes, they have more other problems. So, like I say, small.
Yeah, it's just another naught,
Yeah,
and you just get another naught on the end of the
yeah,
turnover. It's just
and then
another
you
naught
get
on
to a point
the
when if your
problems.
business has been a bit more successful, where you don't want to take more money out of the business. So I've got a few clients I've got who we've done a lot of work on where they've had lots of money sitting in the business because they can't extract it tax efficiently. So that's another problem they have on their side, and obviously.
It's a bit of a
Yeah,
champagne
I always say
problem,
that
though,
because
isn't it?
one of my clients the other week said, "I've got this problem," and I said, "Do you know what? I will swap, and I'll happily take your problem off your hands if you want, because you seem to have too much money in your business." But yeah, along the spectrum of business, and that's another reason why I like working with business owners, because you can work with someone who's just starting a business all the way up to a massive multi-million-pound turnover business, and the problems are different. And I just really enjoy I feel like working with business owners helps me be a financial advisor, not a business coach, but help some elements of that mixed in with the finance. Really, I feel like that sort of I can really add support to business owners around those areas. Really.
Wow. Tell me this. I'm going to come back to the business thing in a moment. Um, so I checked your stats. 29 goals. Do you remember your best goal?
Just trying to think. There's definitely a couple. The one that probably comes to my head was against Cambridge, I think, really. For York, I scored quite a good goal. And I scored two really good ones for Mansfield as well, actually. They were probably the best ones that I do remember. But yeah, I should remember when there's only 29 of them. There's not that many, but yeah, I scored quite a few headers. One against Morecambe was pretty good. I think one.
I bet your John can remember all of his goals.
He got quite a few as well. But I think,
And he'd tell us
I think
about
the one that was probably, I say most important, but I think not most important to me, but to the club was when I was at Macclesfield, we beat Walsall in the FA Cup first round, and I scored, and we won 1-0. And I remember at the time Macclesfield was struggling a little bit financially. Really good club, and I think the prize money was, I can't remember, sort of maybe 50,000-60,000 or something. And
Wow,
yeah,
it's a big
so
difference.
I know that a company down there called Origi Bianchi, that are quite a big sort of furniture and home shop. They still have the picture on the wall, and yeah, that was probably one of my favourite goals, really, just because I don't know, it meant a lot to the fans and to the club at that time. So I'd probably say that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's that feeling again, isn't it? It's what you try and bring to your clients. It's that feeling of something that's that
Yeah,
emotional
definitely.
pull.
Because I think when you get to the end of career, people ask me questions. I've got quite a good memory, and I was doing a bit of an interview with a guy, Lee Morris, who writes for Huddersfield. I think it's Huddersfield Town Heritage program. So there'll be a piece in the program in a few weeks, and he was asking me lots of questions about Huddersfield. And yeah, when I was there, it's such a long time ago, but I do remember most of it. But like you said, it was lots of it's around feelings. Like certain clubs felt really good, and certain moments, and they're probably the moments that you remember. To be honest, more than the actual details of things, it's more the bits where yeah, the feelings that you had at those times.
Where's the biggest challenge in your business? What's for yourself at the moment in growing your business or
Yeah, I think
controlling it?
at the moment I'm probably around 17, 18 months into my business. I feel like I made a good start. I think same as every other business owner, you're like, oh, I wish I was a bit further on than I am. But I think, yeah, if I look objectively, I've done a good job over the first 18 months. And I'm at the point where I'm changing from doing everything myself to starting to outsource certain elements of my business and implementing processes so I can grow my business. Because obviously most of it at the moment is done by myself. It's processes are something that yeah, I quite like a process and I like a system, but being in a new business, it's probably around this time now where I actually, no, obviously, being new to financial advice, new to running a financial advice business, and I'm probably at the point where I understand to create a great process. I know the ins and outs of what to do, and obviously trying to outsource some admin, some para planning, and yeah, where to spend money at the moment. It's probably one of the there's so many bits of tech that I use for my advice, so many networking groups, so many different avenues where yeah, I need to spend money and obviously spend time to train people and outsource elements of my business. It's prioritizing, and then yeah, I'd say the hardest bit is sort of I'm probably at that point where the growth's going quite well. I just need to improve the back end of my business to be able to get more new clients through and a steady stream of new clients, and I can keep up with that without slowing down really. So I think
Yeah, it's that problem I come across
yeah,
every day in businesses and with the mastermind. The business gets going and all that hard work you put in, but okay, I need to scale now. And systems process absolutely, but it's about scaling yourself. So you're not on your own there, John. But keep going. Sounds like you've got a lot going on there. What I hear a lot in other entrepreneurs worlds that I speak with, they talk a lot about AI. Is that a challenge or is it a blessing in the financial
um,
advice center?
I think both. I think both in probably most people's sectors at the moment, but AI is definitely going to be a big part of most things. But there's lots coming in to financial advice. The compliance
Mm-hmm.
around financial advice makes AI more difficult than other industries because there's so much compliance, and obviously we're governed by the FSCA. Sorry, so we have to be really careful around obviously data and compliance. But yeah, a lot of our back end systems around like you will have seen coming across businesses, recording
Yeah.
meetings, transcripting meetings, even
Mm-hmm.
even AI to. So if I'm doing a pension transfer, I'll request the seeding scheme information from the pension company. They send me lots of documents. There's some AI out there now. You just upload the PDF of the document, and it will we have like a checklist of things that we need to pull out of there, and AI will literally just pull out the relevant bits of information. So where it would have taken time. So I look at I look at AI being able to help me in two ways really. One, it'll help me have more clients because I'll be more efficient, so I could take on more clients in the same time frame. Or the other way, which I'm probably more leaning to, I can service a number of clients that I want to get to in a shorter time frame, which means instead of doing it in 5 days, I might be able to do it in 4 days and spend a day. I'm going to say playing golf, but I don't really play golf, but spending time with my family or whatever that extra day is. And I think that's where AI, for the automated parts of people's business, people will need to take it on board, because it won't be that there'll be some industries where AI will come in and take people's jobs and jobs will change. But I think financial advice and other areas that are pretty similar, where you'd lose out is if I'm not using AI and another financial advisor is using AI, they can grow their business quicker, they can service their clients in a more efficient manner. So yeah, it's more around making sure that I stay on top of AI, so I'm able to be quite efficient with it. But yeah,
about 10 years ago, I was doing a talk, and I was people asking, well, what does the future like? And I'd read this statistic and said that basically in sort of like 20 years time, that there are 50% of the jobs that we do not know about right now that will exist, and people and even just 10 years ago, AI wasn't.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
was kind of some
someone
kind of
said a
science
start at a
fiction.
networking group the other day around the new jobs that will be created through AI. I think there'll be some that will fall by the wayside, but they'll create new jobs as well. And same as most new technologies, or when the internet comes along or whatever, is just making sure you're keeping up with it really and being at the front end of it. Because I think whatever happens that's new, as long as you're one of the early adopters and understanding it, that you can adapt your business around whatever the new systems are. But yeah, someone mentioned the other day around call centers being different, and I can see how it'd work actually. Well, with AI, they'll have like AI agents that will be able to have a conversation and pull out what information they need. And to be honest, I've been on the phone to pension companies for about 4 hours, and I was like, I'd rather talk to someone from AI. To be honest, it'd be easier than trying to get this information that I've been trying to get for hours. But yeah, I think same as any business really, you've got to stay at the forefront. And I've been to lots of events where, well, to be honest, every event I go to at the moment, there seems to be a talk on AI, and people are all at different stages of AI. But yeah, I've met a few businesses recently, and I was thinking you need to be. I think I've met a few around sort of different industries, and I was thinking your industry is going to change massively over the next 10 years, and you need to
And the drum I'm beating about AI at the moment is it's AI and HI, so artificial intelligence and human intelligence. And if you get those two together, it's going to come together. So, John, I'm conscious that our time's coming to a close now. So, a question I often ask my podcast guests is there any book, any person, anyone who's inspired you? Obviously, you've had two lives. You've had your professional career as a footballer, and your new business's life. Is anyone out there that you'd tell us about?
Good question, actually. I think one person I used to always like reading was a guy called John Wooden, who was a basketball coach in America. Just some of his, obviously, I used to do lots of reading around coaching, and I think a lot of his things go across life really, because I think I used to really enjoy reading his books around coaching, because the elements that were in there were quite simple, but they probably go across multiple industries in terms of building a team and the culture you create around that would be pretty great. I used to always read the Legend. I think, is it called Legends? Oh, Legacy. Sorry, the one about New Zealand rugby team. That was an amazing book as well. I definitely recommend that to anyone around building team cultures. The the main book I'd recommend around finance is a book called Die with Zero, which doesn't always feed into the narrative of financial advisors that we tell you to save as much money as possible, but that's not exactly what we do. But yeah, the book's around trying to die with having spent all your money, because it's around we give up time and effort to earn money, and then what we do with the money is we use that to basically buy experiences and and all of that
Okay.
elements. And I try and do that a lot with my clients, because mine's not about saving as much money as possible. It's about having the right money in the right places at the right time. So I think I try and get,
Mhm.
well, big thing I do with my clients, try and get them to have a great life, really, with my element of helping them to do that with financial planning. So yeah, I definitely recommend most people to read that, or probably Rich Dad Poor Dad's a really good book around finance as well, which is popular.
Well, John, you've been great. So some great books there. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Always is. And you've had a long day this morning, I think,
Oh
haven't
yeah,
you? Been up early
B&I
as
this
well,
morning at
working.
6:30. So, no. Oh, thank you,
That's
Paul.
brilliant, John. So, no, thank you. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you. We're both in the same town, so hopefully we'll pass
Oh,
across
cheers,
again
Paul.
very
Thank
soon.
you.